Okay, steady on. Calm down. Don't get too excited. You will wear yourself out before the weekend arrives. So here we are then. Oh, look, it's looking very autumnal out of the window. Welcome to another English Addict live on YouTube. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope you are happy. Are you happy? I always ask that question, but I never get a reply. Ever. So I hope you are feeling good today. We are here with another English Addict, and I'm pretty sure that there are people who still don't know what this is all about. So this is my new style of live English lessons. So this is live. You are watching me now live, unless you are not, in which case you're not. However, it is live at 7 minutes past 2 o'clock on... Guess what day it is today? Oh, I feel so happy. I feel so gay. I feel as if I have a spring in my step because it's Friday. Ooh, lots of big changes. There are many big changes coming over the next few days, including a name change for this channel. So this channel that you are watching at the moment, it is called Learn English with Mr. Duncan, but soon it will be renamed, so it will have a new name. I will let you know when that is happening, when it is about to happen. But at the moment it's not. I have been so busy this week. I can't begin to tell you how busy I've been. I have 3 projects at the moment. Not one project, not 2, but 3 projects to take care of at the moment. So I must admit I have been quite busy. One of the projects concerns this, the thing I'm doing now. Another project concerns Mr. Steve and something that he is starting to do, something that will be happening with Mr. Steve in the future. And I'm also involved in that. I can't say anything else because Steve has told me not to mention it, not to say anything at all, so I'm not allowed to mention. And the third project is also connected to this. I have had to learn lots of things this week. I didn't realise how difficult it is designing and creating your own website and also connecting everything together so it works on the internet. I must be honest with you. I didn't realise how difficult all of that is. I wish I had phoned my friend. I have a friend who designs websites. His name is Sean Bird, and he's a great guy. He has a lovely company that produces websites. He designs them, helps you with all of the things that you need. However, I decided to be stubborn. I decided that I wanted to learn how to design and create my own website. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, but it's so complex. I didn't realise that creating a web page, in fact, that might be the easy part. The hardest part is actually getting it onto the internet so people can look at it. And that is what I'm working on at the moment. It is such a difficult thing to do. So I really do admire anyone who is involved in creating websites and also people who create and manage the URLs. So a URL is the address where you can find what it is you are looking for. For example, youtube.com is a URL. So I hope you are feeling good, because I have spent too much time in front of the computer, which is a good question to ask today, I think. So how much time do you spend in front of your computer? How much time do you spend staring at the screen? This week, I have spent too much time looking at a computer screen. I've been looking at it for so long, my eyes are actually hurting. Even now, as I stand here talking to you, my eyes, they feel as if my eyeballs are being sucked from their sockets. And I had a terrible headache last night, so I think I've been looking for too long at the computer. What about you? Do you spend much time on the computer? And I'm not talking about computer games. Let's be honest. So, not computer games, but actually using your computer for maybe work, or maybe something that you have to do as part of your studies. So maybe you are looking for information, you are doing research, and that means you have to go on the internet. You have to look for the information. Sometimes you can't find it. Even if you Google something, quite often you will find that the information is not enough, or maybe the information is unreliable. Ooh. So there you go. How much time do you spend looking at your computer? We have a little bit of Charles Dickens later on. There is a great expression, and I feel very sad that this expression is not used anymore. You very rarely hear it. However, I love this expression. What the Dickens? What the Dickens? This is normally used as a way of expressing surprise or shock, or even alarm if you are a little worried about something, or maybe surprised. Perhaps the surprise is a horrible surprise. So, what the Dickens? And you might assume that that is connected to Charles Dickens. What the Dickens is going on here? What the Dickens are you doing? So I love this. Now, it is often used as a question, but as you can see here, I've put an exclamation mark at the end to give it more impact. So, what the Dickens is a way of expressing surprise or sudden shock, where when you are surprised or shocked by something, you might say, what the Dickens is going on here? You might also ask the same about me today. What the Dickens is going on here? Well, my name is Duncan, and I've been teaching English here on YouTube for a very long time. 13 years, can you believe it? 13 years. I've been here doing this, honestly. And you can catch me on YouTube Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. UK time. That is when I am on. And as you can see, I am here today. Friday has arrived. Yes, the weekend is here. And I hope you are ready for an excellent weekend. I have some bad news. Well, it's not really bad news. Maybe not bad news for you. But here in the UK, we have had so much rain this week. We really have. Shall we have a look out the window? So there is the view at the moment. It's looking a little dull, very cloudy, overcast, and it is freezing cold at the moment. It really does feel as if winter has arrived. So this week we've had so much rain. I can't begin to tell you how much rain we've had this week, but it's been a lot. We've had so much rain, I can't begin to tell you. In certain parts of the UK, there has been serious flooding taking place. Not Very nice. Hello to the live chat. Ooh. Nice to see you here as well today. Hello, Not One Thing. Hello, Not One Thing. You are first, along with Caesar and also Farrar as well. So, congratulations to you all. Okay. Calm down. We have a long way to go, so I don't want you to get too excited. So please, calm down. Take a deep breath. Also, hello to Alexandra, Caesar again, Hiroko. Hello, Hiroko. I think I received a donation from you. I'm sure I did. I didn't have a chance to check, but I had a message come through saying that there was a donation that had come through, and I think it may have been from you. So if it was you, Hiroko, thank you very much. Caesar! Hail, Caesar, should I say. Luis Mendez is here. Louis as well. Sueli. Hello, Sueli. Nice to see you here as well. Farrar. Glad to see you here again. Yes, although I'm feeling a little tired today, my eyes are really hurting. Even now, as I stand here looking at you, my eyes are really painful because I've spent too much time staring at my computer screen. I didn't realise designing and posting your own website was so difficult. So that is something that I'm having to deal with at the moment. And it's not easy. It really isn't. I'm beginning to wonder whether I should have contacted my friend, Sean Bird. I think he could have put me right. Although he's too expensive, to be honest. For me, anyway. Hello, Belarusia. I have been cooking. Today I am having fish with garlic and parsley with tomato salad. That sounds absolutely gorgeous. Fish. As you know, I like eating fish, especially on Sunday. We normally have some lovely salmon. Mr. Steve goes down to the River Severn with his fishing rod, and he sits by the river for the whole afternoon trying to catch some fish. And normally he brings back a little tiny fish, a little tiny one, and it's not enough to feed us. So instead, I go to the supermarket and I get some salmon, because I know Mr. Steve will come back with nothing. He either comes back with a very small fish, a tiddler. So if a fish is very small, we call it a tiddler. It's a small fish. You can't really eat it. Or he comes back with an old boot or a tyre that's been thrown in the river. So I don't normally have much luck when Mr. Steve goes fishing, to be honest. Have you ever been fishing? It is so boring. I went fishing with someone many years ago, and I think that may have been the last time I ever went fishing with someone. It is so boring. I had to sit there, and you can't even talk. So you have to sit there in virtual silence. And the sun hasn't come up. So it's early in the morning, and everything is quiet. So it's quite nice. But if you sit there for 3 or 4 hours by a river, waiting for a fish to come up and bite, it can be a little tedious, to say the least. Hello to Corrie. Hello, Corrie. Nice to see you here. Hello also to Vinraj. Hello, Vinraj. Here in Pakistan, where I live, yesterday there was heavy rain accompanied by horrible thunderstorm, which claimed 30 lives. That is absolutely awful. And also many animals perished as well. So yes, that's really bad news. I don't know what's happening at the moment in the world. There seems to be a lot of crazy weather. I mean, in Australia, they have those terrible fires that are sweeping across, I think it's New South Wales and over towards Sydney. So that part of the world. I have a friend who lives in Melbourne. So yes, pretty bad. And also there are fires in California, in the USA. So yes, lots of strange weather taking place at the moment. Hello also to just a moment. I'll be with you in a moment. So many people already on the live chat. Hello to everyone. Connell says, yes, I spend a lot of time in front of the computer. Now, I'm not talking about computer games, because when you play computer games, you are normally more relaxed. So you don't sit in front of the screen staring at it like a crazy person. So normally when you play computer games, you're more relaxed, you're more laid back like this. So this is how people normally play computer games. They play their computer games like this. But when you're working in front of a computer, it's very stressful. And yesterday I thought my eyes were going to go pop. I really did. I spent too much time in front of the computer, and it's not good for you. It really isn't. Artistic. Hello, Artistic Zone. Is white your favourite colour? Well, today, I suppose it is, because I'm wearing my white shirt and my white hat. But, oh, and also my white underpants as well. So you might be right there, yes. Corey, we are addicted to Mr. Duncan. Thank you very much. Lots of changes taking place. You may have noticed already things are looking different on my YouTube channel, also on Facebook and on many other platforms. All of the names and all of the designs have been changed. The only thing I haven't changed is the name of my YouTube channel. However, that will be happening soon. So even my YouTube channel will soon have a new name. And I'm in the process of making a new website. So you don't even have to go to YouTube. You'll be able to visit my website, even though at the moment I'm still trying to build it and work out how to get it onto the internet. It's not easy. I didn't realise it was so complicated. I thought all I had to do was just put it outside the window and then everything goes on the internet. That's what I thought. Hello to Hai Li Kwang. I often play LOL on the PC. I don't know what LOL is. Is that a type of computer game? Is that like Death Stranding? A lot of people over the past few days have been talking about Death Stranding. Apparently it's a computer game, and I've never played it. Before anyone asks, I haven't played many computer games in my life. Let's have a look at today's mystery idiom. I haven't forgotten. I have remembered it. Today's mystery idiom is here right now. Would you like to have a look at it? This is a mystery idiom, a well-known phrase in English. All you have to do is tell me what you see on the screen. And here is the mystery idiom right now. Ooh. 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 I wonder what it could be. So today's mystery idiom is there right now on the screen. If you think you know what it is, just write it down on the chat. So I will give you the answer later if you don't know. So there is a mystery idiom, a well-known phrase in English. And all you have to do is tell me what it is. We are going to take a look at one of my full English lessons soon. Hello, Lewis. Hello also to Ahmed. Ahmed says, Mr. Duncan, can you change the name to English Lover? I don't know about that. The problem is, if I change it to English lover, I might get lots of people coming round wanting to marry me. So that's the reason why I didn't use that. However, we are sticking with English addict. I like it because I'm crazy about English. I don't know about you, but I have a feeling maybe you are also an English addict. I'm crazy about the English language. I love it so much. Caesar says, I love to play the Xbox. Xbox. And I think the other one is PlayStation. Is that right? So there's Xbox, PlayStation, and... Is there another one? I feel as if there's a third one. I'm sure someone will tell me. You can tell that I don't ever play computer games. Lagel says, oh wow, Mr. Duncan, what a lovely coincidence to see you today after I was watching your full English lesson Wow, so you were just watching some of my lessons. Well, guess what? I'm going to show an excerpt from one of my full English lessons right now. And this is taken from, I think it is Full English number 5. Would you like to go for a walk? Okay, let's go. Can you see what sort of weather we're having here today? Well, there is poor visibility for a start. It isn't a clear day by any means. It is a foggy day here in England. We can use foggy as an idiom to describe the inability to remember something. We can say, I haven't the foggiest idea, which means you do not remember or you cannot recall a certain event or a piece of information. Today's fog has been caused by warm and cold air colliding with each other. This fog is made up of tiny particles of moisture. You often see fog forming in the early morning or evening, or as the temperature changes. The subject of weather is a fascinating one, and for the typical English person such as myself, it is a subject that is often discussed in general day-to-day conversation. The two words shown here may look similar, but they are in fact very different. The words perspective and prospective are often confused. That is to say, one is used instead of the other. First of all, the word perspective defines the way in which things are seen, how an object appears depending on its size, shape, and relative distance from other things around it. In drawing and painting, perspective is used to give the illusion of depth and distance. We can also use this word to express a person's view of the world as their point of view, a person's perspective of the world. The views and opinions held by us all come from our own perspective. Then there is the word prospective, which means something that is expected or is expecting to be done in the future. Something that is likely to happen at a later date is prospective. I have a prospective client coming to my office tomorrow. So now there is no need to get these words confused ever again. I have given you a clear perspective of what the differences are. I have done this for you now and for all the prospective online students who will join me in the future. Can you see what I have here? This is a saucepan full of boiling water. The hot water is producing steam. Steam is produced when water vaporizes. Normally water vapor cannot be seen, but it is possible to show it when extreme temperatures are used. For example, when hot vapor meets cool air. This is one of the ways in which clouds are formed. The process is called evaporation. The word steam can be used in other ways. For example, a person can let off steam. This expression means that a person will release their tension and pent-up energy by doing something. The action is normally a physical one, such as going for a run, having a dance, or in extreme cases, screaming out loud. It would be fair to say that we all need to let off steam at some point. It's time to take a look at another part of English grammar, continuing the theme of punctuation that we started in the last Full English. Today we will take a look at the dreaded apostrophe. This particular punctuation mark is a controversial one, as its use has been widely disputed over the years. Even now there seems to be some confusion over how it should be used. In general English, the apostrophe serves two purposes: to show the possessive quality of something, and to show that a word has been shortened or a sentence has been made shorter. In the possessive sense, the apostrophe shows that one thing belongs to another. For example, Duncan's pen, Jill's pencil, St. Paul's Cathedral. The apostrophe can come at the end of the possessive word. For example, the teacher's college is over there. A commonly confused use of the apostrophe comes with the word its. The apostrophe here shows the contraction of it is. It's my birthday today. When the apostrophe is not used, then the possessive tense is being expressed. A mouse has no fur on its tail. Another common mistake made with the apostrophe is to use it to show the plural of ordinary words. This is incorrect. Once again, the apostrophe is only used when you wish to show a possessive clause or the contraction of a word or sentence. We are back live. It's Friday and it's English Addict with myself, Mr. Duncan. I hope you are having a good Friday. I hope you are having a good weekend, just in case it is already tomorrow. So, hello to everyone. Hello, Alexandra, who says, I don't agree with you, Mr. Duncan. Lots of people are very crazy whilst they are playing the computer game. It can be very stressful. I suppose so. In fact, one of my nephews is crazy about computer games. He goes to all of these conventions and all of these competitions where they spend hours and hours playing computer games in front of a big screen. So that's all I know about that. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting until it came out of my mouth, and then I thought maybe not. Hello, Pedro. Pedro is here once again. We are having a look at some Charles Dickens a little bit later on. Also, we are talking about a subject that may not be pleasant. However, we are going to discuss it. Having a crisis. Crisis. There are many words and situations that you can actually use to refer to this actual word. I like this word. It looks very strange when you write it down because it's like ISIS with CR at the beginning. So it's crisis. Crisis. A crisis. When we say crisis, we are talking about a bad situation or a stressful moment of time. Plural, crises. So when we talk about many things happening that are bad at the same time, we might talk about crises as the plural. So maybe the financial crises. That means there were many problems caused by the economic crash and the problems caused by all of those things, including many banks, some of which went out of business. So when we talk about many things going wrong at the same time, many big problems that come along, we can use crises. That means there is more than one problem. And in the single term, crisis, crisis, crises. Of course, when we talk about crisis, we are talking about a severe event. Severe, something that has happened that is causing many problems. Severe event. So when we say event, it can be anything that is causing a big problem. For example, you might talk about the weather. So there is a severe event taking place in Australia where there are many fires. In fact, we might say that there are severe fires, severe wildfires. So serious, something that is causing a lot of problems. It is a crisis. There is a severe event taking place. I suppose also we can describe this as a serious situation. So when we talk about a serious situation, it is something that needs to be dealt with. You have to deal with the problem. A crisis is a problem. Quite often, it doesn't go away by itself. It is human nature to believe that if you have a problem, just wait. Just wait and see. It might go away on its own. However, if you have a serious situation, quite often it will not go away. It will be there unless you do something about it. A serious situation. You have a crisis. Maybe one or more things have come along and they need to be dealt with. You might feel weighed down. So a crisis can also be a situation where you can't cope with something. Maybe there is a problem at work or maybe a family problem. You feel weighed down by a certain situation or something that is happening around you. Weighed down. It feels as if you can't cope. It feels as if you don't know where to go for help. You feel weighed down. It is preventing you from living your life. Maybe you have more than one problem to deal with at the same time. We can say that you are weighed down. Weighed down. Your problems are very heavy and they are literally stopping you from living your life. You have difficulty. Difficulty. So if you have difficulty, you have a situation that is hard to cope with. You can't cope with the situation. It is a hard situation to deal with. You have difficulty. So maybe there is one problem that you have. Maybe you have difficulty remembering English words. You see? So that is a kind of problem. It is a kind of problem that you might worry about, especially if you have an exam approaching. So maybe you have to make sure that you can remember English words. You have difficulty. Maybe you are disabled. Maybe you have a disability. Maybe you have difficulty walking up stairs or steps. So maybe you have difficulty getting around or climbing steps. Sometimes a situation is really, really bad. It is drastic. So when something is serious, you normally have to do something equally as serious in response. So you might have to take drastic action. If you take drastic action, it means you do something serious in response to the problem. Something is drastic. A situation can be drastic. You have to do something very, sometimes inconvenient or difficult to solve the problem. You have to take drastic action. Quite often, a crisis comes from misfortune. If you have misfortune, it means you have a situation that didn't go the way you thought it would. So maybe something you thought that would go well doesn't. You have misfortune. An accident might cause a crisis. So misfortune can also refer to having an accident or suffering an injury. Or maybe you have financial problems. Maybe you invested some money and you've lost it. You have financial misfortune. There is the word fortune in the word itself. So misfortune. Quite often when we talk about fortune, we are talking about money or profit. So the amount of money that you have. So this literally means to lose your fortune. You have bad luck. If something happens that is bad in your life, maybe something that you can't cope with, maybe something very sad and heartbreaking, we might describe this as tragedy. When a feeling's gone and you can't go on, it's tragedy, as the Bee Gees said. I think it was 1978 that the Bee Gees had a hit with Tragedy, although it may have been later. I think it was the 1980s, actually. Tragedy. When something goes wrong, something bad happens, quite often a tragedy will happen without warning. So maybe a terrible event will occur. Something happens that you weren't expecting. Something that makes you feel unhappy, sad, devastated, and really upset is a tragedy. It's a tragedy that Mr. Duncan doesn't get 1 million subscribers. It's a tragedy. Tragedy, a sad thing, a sad situation, or something that comes suddenly that causes upset or distress. A terrible event is a tragedy. I suppose also we can use this word as well. Catastrophe. Ooh, I like this word. If you have a catastrophe, it means something goes seriously wrong. Something really doesn't go the way you expected. Maybe you have a business plan and nothing comes from your business plan because your business fails really quickly. You could say that your business turned out to be a catastrophe. There was a catastrophe in your business. Maybe you made a mistake with your marketing, or maybe you didn't get enough customers because they didn't know you existed. It was a catastrophe. It was a disaster. A catastrophe. The thing was catastrophic. So the catastrophe is the thing that happened. The event can be described as catastrophic. Something terrible happened. Emin says tragedy is not relevant now. Instead, we often say drama. Well, I suppose drama these days relates to anything where people are arguing or complaining or fighting. So these days you find the word drama used quite often here on the internet when people are fighting. Maybe they are fighting over, I don't know, whose video is better, who has the most subscribers, things like that. So maybe there is some YouTube drama. Maybe two publishers on YouTube are fighting. They are arguing about something. So we will often refer to that as YouTube drama. A situation that is serious when you have a crisis. Things can get very fraught. I love this. So a stressful situation, something that causes a lot of heartache and stress, a sad, serious, upsetting situation is fraught. Something is fraught, chaotic, awful, terrible. And you might also feel fraught as well. So to feel fraught means you feel stressed, upset, confused by the whole event. So something that causes a lot of heartache and upset can leave you feeling fraught. Here is a word that I love. This is one of my most favourite words, and this is one that I always refer to when I talk about having difficulties in your life. My friend who has always been with me during my 13 years here on YouTube. Adversity. Adversity. This is something that I've had to cope with for many, many years here on YouTube. So I have an idea or a plan, or I try to do something, but things come along that get in the way. They prevent me from continuing. They cause a lot of problems. We call these things adversity. So things that cause problems, difficulty, they make the thing that you want to do very hard to actually accomplish. Adversity, the difficulties of life, are often described as adversity, the things that you have to cope with, the things that you have to struggle against. And that's something that I've done for many years here on YouTube. There is always a new problem that I have to solve when I'm presenting these lessons or creating my YouTube channel or making new videos. There is always adversity waiting around the corner. However, sometimes adversity can be a good thing. Sometimes when things go wrong, what do you normally do? You try again. And quite often, you will try harder. You will put more effort into it. Things in life don't always go the way you planned. Sometimes you can go through a period of difficulty, a period of time when things go wrong. We generally call this hardship. Hardship. So hardship can make you feel unhappy. It's a difficult situation that you have to get through. Hardship. We often refer to this when we are short of money, when we don't have much money, when we find it very difficult to buy food, to put on the table for our family. You suffer hardship. You go through a difficult period of time. So maybe you lose your job. And that's happened to me many times in my life, especially my young life. All those years ago, I had some hardship. In fact, sometimes my own family had hardship because I wasn't raised by a wealthy family. A lot of people seem to think that I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I didn't. So my family, when I was being raised as a child by my family, we would suffer many hardships. We would have difficulties sometimes for various reasons, quite often involving money. So when you go through a bad situation, we can say that you go through a bad patch. If you go through a bad patch, then it means that you are going through a bad situation or a bad event. Something bad is happening at the moment. Maybe your business is not doing very well. You might say to your friend, sorry, my business isn't doing very well at the moment. We are having a bad patch at the moment. So if you have a bad patch, it means you are going through a period of difficulty. So at the moment you are having a bad patch. Maybe you are feeling unwell or unhappy about your life, or maybe you are suffering from an illness. You might say that you are going through a bad patch with your health. A bad patch. Also, hard times. If you are having hard times, again, it means you are having difficulties. You are having a difficult time. Hard. So quite often we will use the word hard to mean difficult. Something that is not easy to resolve or solve. Hard times. Difficult. Period. Hard times. We all go through hard times. It is part of this crazy thing called life. Oh, hello, live chatters. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about you. Hello to RHS. Hello, RHS. Apparently, it is your birthday coming soon. Oh, I see. So, happy birthday for when? When is your birthday? I have a feeling it might be on Sunday. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Do we say cop with or cop a problem? Cop a problem. I think you mean cope. Do you mean cope? If you cope with something, it means you can find a solution. You can take the difficulty. So it doesn't cause you too much harm or damage. So if you cope with something well, it means you can handle the situation. It's not hard to cope with. So you cope with something. You have to cope with a difficult situation. You have to cope with a bad period of time because you are going through a rough patch. So again, rough patch means a period of time where things are not going the way you want them to. You are going through a rough patch. Imagine that you are driving along the road and suddenly you go over a very uneven, bumpy path, or maybe a small road that is very rough. We can say that you go through a rough patch. Or maybe you are walking through a field. Patch can mean an area of land. So when we talk about patch, quite often we can talk about something that is part of something. So maybe a section of a piece of land can be described as a patch or part of something. So rough patch means you are going through a difficult situation. Oh, I think we might be getting a divorce because my wife and me are going through a rough patch at the moment. That means the relationship is not going very well. Here's another good one. A rocky period. This has nothing to do with Sylvester Stallone, I can promise you. If you have a rocky period, it means you have a difficult time. So if things are rocky, it means they are not going very well. It's a little bit like being in a ship that is on the sea. Things are not going smoothly. You are having a rocky period, so a difficult time. Also very similar, rough. You can have a rough period, a difficult, rough time. Maybe the thing that is affecting you is very serious. You might have a major problem. Major. So something major is very difficult, very hard to solve or to resolve. So a major problem, a difficult situation, is something that is very hard to solve. So a major problem, maybe your computer stops working and you don't know what is wrong with it. It would appear that your computer has a major problem. So major means serious, something that is serious or maybe of importance. A major problem, a big problem, a big situation that needs solving. I love reading, even though nowadays I don't get much time to read. However, what the dickens is Mr. Duncan going to do now? Well, there is a famous story written by Charles Dickens called A Tale of Two Cities. A very good story, a little bleak in places. It's not a comedy. However, there is a lovely phrase, there is a lovely, I suppose you would call it a passage from the actual story, which I'm going to read for you right now. And also I'm going to explain some of the words as well. So this is taken from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. Incredulity. I knew I'd get that wrong. Incredulity is not an easy word to say, even for me. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. And finally, it was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. Now, I'm very interested by this passage because I think this can be appropriate for any period of time, even now. So nowadays you might say the same thing. Even though that story was written a very long time ago, things have changed since the time of Charles Dickens. However, and this is interesting, you might say that things haven't changed that much. You might still say that we are living in the best of times and the worst of times. We still have darkness and lightness. So, yes, I think it's very thought-provoking, to be honest. Very thought-provoking. Some of the words that I used there, including the one that I can't pronounce. Epoch. Oh, I like this one. Epoch. An epoch means a period of time. Maybe a period when things are going a certain way. So epoch is a period of time during a certain period of time. So the epoch of happiness, the epoch of dissatisfaction, the epoch of chaos. Incredulity. I can say it now. Incredulity. Incredulity is doubt or skepticism. If you doubt something is true or real, if you wonder whether something is real or true, you have incredulity. You have doubt. You believe that something is not how it seems. You are a skeptic. You have incredulity. Ooh, I like that word. Finally, despair. If you have despair, it means you fall into low spirits. Your feeling is low. You feel unhappy or sad. You have despair. It is a type of sadness that sometimes you can't get out of. Despair may be a situation that you can't change, or maybe you have a crisis which is very hard to resolve or sort out. You fall into despair. You feel as if the situation has become desperate. You have despair. You might feel anxious. You might feel the need for something. You feel despair. Let's have a look at the live chat before we go, because I will be going soon. Antonio, despite the disadvantage, we have to continue life with faith in the future. That is something I have, and it's something sometimes that you can lose. So I always think that everyone has some sort of faith. Maybe they have faith in other people. Maybe they have their own personal faith in something that they don't fully understand. Maybe a person has religious faith, or maybe a person has faith in themselves. And I think self-belief is something that is very important, especially if you want to try something new. So at the moment, I am doing something new with Mr. Steve. So it's something that Steve will be doing, but also I am involved as well. So I have to have lots of faith in not only myself, but also Mr. Steve. And of course, I do. I have lots of faith. But self-belief is something that I think is very important. If you want to succeed, if you want to do well in your life, you must have lots of faith, quite often, in yourself. Hello, Grande. Hello, Grande. Just believe and it will be all right. Sometimes belief is part of it. It is part of becoming a better person or succeeding. But also there are other things as well, such as confidence, and maybe self-belief can help you to build your confidence. And also you must have perseverance. You must have lots of motivation. So if you are trying to do something new, sometimes it can be very hard indeed, not easy at all. Before I go, I will give you the answer to today's mystery idiom. There it is. I think it was Joey in Hong Kong said, "Mr. Duncan, you showed this mystery idiom last year." You might be right, actually. You might be right. So the answer to this mystery idiom, a well-known phrase in the English language, is hold the fort. So there it is. You can now see that the picture is someone holding the fort. So if you hold the fort, it means take responsibility for a situation while another person is temporarily absent. You take charge for a short time. You hold the fort. So there it was, today's mystery idiom. The answer has been given. So I hope you got that right, and thanks for Joey. Thank you very much, Joey, for telling me that I used it last year, which I did. But at least I waited a whole year before I used it again. So, not bad. I will be back with you on Sunday. Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. It is always the same time. It is always the same time. Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. UK time. And I really hope to see you there. It's almost time to go. Thank you, Guadalupe. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you also. Grande again. Irene. Hello, Irene. Louis says in France, there is a time period called La Belle Epoque at the end of the 19th century. Well, if something is that belle? Is that good? I believe it is. So the good period, the good time. Wouldn't it be funny if I got that wrong? It would be hilarious. I would be laughing for the rest of the day. I really would. Thank you to Passan. Hello, Passan. Sorry, I didn't see your name on the live chat, but I will say hello to you now. Passan Sansuk, watching in Laos or Laos. I never know how to pronounce that because some people say Laos, some people say Laos. So you can take your pick. Thank you very much. It's great to see you all here. So many people joining in today. I am going in a moment. We'll have a look outside just to have a quick look at the view. There it is. Looking out the window, I think maybe we might get a little bit of rain later because the weather has been rather bad over the past few days, let me tell you. Thank you very much for your lovely messages. Thank you very much for your kind attention today. Very lovely. Thank you to Ahmed, who is watching in Dubai. Unfortunately, I am going in a moment. Thank you to Zuzika. Thank you, Zuzika. Apparently tomorrow, Saturday, it is International Tolerance Day. Tolerance. If you tolerate something, it means you are able to accept or you are able to deal with something. So tolerance. We should all be tolerant towards each other, and then maybe the world would be a slightly better place. Who knows? Who knows? I will see you on Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time. And of course, once again, I will have a lot of things to talk about. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday as well. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying, don't stare at your computer screen for too long because you might get painful eyes like me. And of course, until Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time, this is Mr. Duncan in England saying thanks for watching and of course, ta-ta for now.